Good morning, everybody. Welcome to today's 1 Million by 1 Million Strategy Roundtable for Entrepreneurs. 1 Million by 1 Million is right now the only global virtual incubator headquartered in Silicon Valley with the mission of helping 1 million entrepreneurs reach $1 million and beyond in annual revenue, create $1 trillion of global GDP and 10 million jobs. This is our free public roundtable, and it's been going on for a long time. So this is our 213th session, and what we have tried to do over time here is have entrepreneurs all over the world access Silicon Valley style methodology, knowledge, and 1 Million by 1 Million offers also a full education incubation program, including access to Silicon Valley network. So, the founding of 1 Million by 1 Million dates back to my New Year resolution written in the beginning of 2010, January 1st, 2010, and I decided that we were going to do this 1 Million by 1 Million project, but I had really no idea at that point how we were going to do this, how we were going to build this program. But in due course, we figured it out, and today we have actually been quite successful in working with a large number of entrepreneurs and helping them along, both through these free programming as well as through our premium program, which I will tell you about later on in the show. The program is being recorded. You will have a recording available on both our YouTube channel as well as on the blog. And if you go to the YouTube channel, you'll find all the previous recordings. So we're very transparent about what we do and how we do it. Our Twitter channel, if you would like to follow us, is at 1M by 1M and at Sramana. And we publish a lot of very interesting and valuable, both educational content as well as inspirational content. So if you're looking to follow a strong Twitter channel in the entrepreneurship genre, this would be a very good one. And if you are live tweeting the show today, please use the hashtag 1M1M. This, by the way, is the Twitter channel, the YouTube channel, 1M1M Roundtables. Now, these are the teleconference call-in instructions. I will put them up again towards the end when we are ready to take calls. What we are doing first, though, are working with 4 entrepreneurs who have sent in their slides in advance, and we're going to be discussing their businesses and brainstorming about strategizing, brainstorming about the directions of their businesses and their issues and so forth. And our philosophy here is case study-based learning. So everybody in the room has lots of interesting perspectives both to offer as well as to gather from these discussions. So it's both a contributing opportunity and a learning opportunity. And, I try to give you real feedback. This is not like sugar-coated kind of, interesting, what you're doing is so great kind of feedback. It's more, what kind of steps would help advance your agenda of growing your company and, whatever stage you're at, figuring out how to get to the next step. So, so it's a working session. It's a very safe working session. So I want you to kind of be in that mindset as you're working with us, that this is a program that is designed to help you get further. This is not Shark Tank. I have no agenda to be gratuitously, harsh or critical or, dismissive. Our entire agenda is to help you put one foot before the other, okay? So those are the expectations that I want to set. And we also want to today discuss an article that came out on LinkedIn, which is an excerpt from my Feminine Feminism book called Talented Women, Please Do Not Quit. And the reason we put this on the agenda today is this article really kicked up a storm on LinkedIn, and the statistics are incredible. As you can see from the slide here, This article got 310,572 views already, almost 8,000 shares, 887 comments. So it seems like people had a lot to say about this topic. So we decided that we will put this up for discussion today. So I think what we'll do is we'll do at least one of the slide presentations with one of the entrepreneurs first, and then maybe come back to discuss this topic and then go back to doing the slide presentation, the 3 other slide presentations, if that's okay with you guys. By the way, while we are doing all this, remember this is also a networking session, so feel free to introduce yourselves and let the room know who you are, where are you dialing from, what project you're working on, and so on and so forth. So we're going to start with Careerism Media, and this is JT O'Donnell's project. JT has been here before. It's been a while, we know a little bit about what JT has been up to, and this was a great opportunity. This is a great opportunity for JT to bring us up to speed on what's going on in her business. So JT, over to you.
Thank you so much, and thanks for having me back on again. And I would say that I can't wait to hear the discussion on your article, which I'm a huge fan of and I can relate to on many levels, because when I was on this roundtable the first time, I was a truly fledgling startup, everyone. No money, just a big vision, and was scared to death to get on there and bare my soul, and this was a really safe environment. And the advice, besides all the great advice I got, but I want to tell you the one piece that was given to me was to bootstrap my business, was to figure it out, and that really paid off for me, because where the business is today is not where I thought it was going to be the last time I was here, and if I didn't have the freedom to do that, I'm really not sure I would still be in business. So I can't thank you enough for that advice. It was a hard but fun journey. And now we're really at that next stage, and I'm excited to say we're going to be entering the 1 million club this year, which is mind-blowing to me, with a staff of 6, and that's what Careerism Media is about. So we are solving the communication disconnect between companies and talent, and unlike most companies out there that are either focusing on apps or tools or resources for the job seeker, or apps, tools, or resources for the company seeking talent, we realized that there was this disconnect and we could build something that would bridge it between the two. And if we go to the next slide, what's driven us all along was the picture, the problem that we see. We've had 70% of the American workforce dissatisfied in their current jobs, and I will just tell you that I was in the staffing industry for many, many years, and what we know about recessionary times is that when they finally flatline, like we're seeing now, people don't look for jobs in that time. So my business is at its smallest amount right now, in theory, because when the economy starts to improve, or when people are in this situation for a prolonged period of time like they've been, they now start to look for work and find alternatives. So we have a huge upswing that we're now seeing in our business as a result of those unhappy folks finally saying, I've had enough and I want to find something new. The problem is that 58% of them think they're doing a super job of marketing themselves, their businesses of one, to employers, and that is definitely not the case, because on the flip side, we have 56% of the employers saying they can't find the talent they want in this economy. They can't find the people. This is a global concern. Employee engagement, retention, everyone's talking about in the HR world. And 76% of these employers think it's the job seeker, the employee's responsibility to develop themselves. So this is another big paradigm shift. People used to go to work for a lifetime at a company and think that company would coach them and mentor them and bring them up. And now we are moving back to an economy, a world where we are all businesses of one. We must market our services to our employers, and we must expect that we might only be there for a short period of time if we can't reinvent ourselves or keep ourselves relevant to that employer. So with all of those dynamics going on, we built 2 sites with one mission, and you're going to see that on the next slide. For the employer side of the house, believe it or not, we have a site called Careerism with a tagline, every job is temporary. And this is a free career advice site where talent comes to learn about how to better develop their career. But what we've built is what you call an advertorial model. So employers will come and pay for the privilege of writing really educational, interesting content about what they do and things that they look for in employees. And this content is then presented as a way for them to be identified as top employers from our readership. So We already have over 880,000 monthly visitors. We have a 1.4 million page views, and at 2.5 page views per visit. It's a very rich site, lots of people coming here. We have over 500,000 social media followers, 95,000 daily email subscribers, and they spend about 3 minutes on our site per day. So this is a huge bet for us. We are using it with advertising, advertorial, and in a minute I'll explain what's going to get us to that next level is our latest strategy called employment branding. On the sister side, Career HMO, that's where the talent comes to learn how to better market themselves to the employers. And this is a membership site where they buy an information product first. We have several, a job search accelerator program, a career accelerator program, an MI Money program which assesses your brand. And once they purchase these tools, they are given 30 days of coaching included in the program. And this 30 days of coaching enables them to get the most out of the tools. When they're done the 30 days, they're offered the ability to stay in the program on a subscription basis. So we've built a subscription revenue model here. And that is going exceptionally well. This business came out of beta in 2010. In 2012, and in 1 year grew 153%, and we have a 25% conversion rate to subscription. So this business it far exceeded our expectations and is one of the bigger drivers of our expansion. So bringing those two together, we'll look at the last slide. For 2014, if all goes well, we have a business plan that we're heavily focused on in our budget, we should realize a 2 million annualized run rate and growing. On the Careerism side, we would be breaking 2 million visitors per month. They'll be spending about 4 minutes on the site and 3 page views per visit, with 150,000 daily subscribers. And that traffic level helps us with ad revenues, some of the traditional ad revenues you would all see on websites like AdSense, but also with that paid advertising, that advertorial we talked about. But the new product or service that we're launching is the employment branding program, where we are teaching employers how to maximize their usage of LinkedIn, the LinkedIn careers and companies pages, and helping them in their content creation as a way to identify and attract talent. And these are wonderful packages. They're designed for the small to medium-sized business. We're not going after the big guys. We're going after a much larger estimated population of 1.1 million businesses that would be looking for this kind of engagement. And then on the sister site side, Career HMO, we have built an independent career coaching certification, and it's very similar to becoming a franchise. So they pay to go through a course. Once these coaches have been through the course, they are eligible to apply to become independent career coaches with our company, and that enables them to use all of our marketing materials, all of our systems and resources if they're accepted, and get paid to take clients through our system. And this is huge. We just launched this in the last quarter. We've already had 11 people go through the course, of which 7 people were eligible and accepted as coaches. We will hopefully have 50 independent career coaches by the end of the year, building a pretty aggressive revenue stream because they'll all be selling our program as well as supporting the overflow of customers that we're now acquiring. We have our first major portal partnership in the works. This is white labeling, so taking this membership site that we've built, this entire model, we are now getting inbound inquiries to build these for private label for other companies. And we are in discussions with several companies and should hopefully close our first one by Q2 of the end of this year. This site will also have about 1,000 new users per month buying info products and about 2,000 monthly subscribers. And I've shown you just the very conservative estimated monthly revenues for both sites. And again, we're reporting on the low end so that we can hopefully exceed our revenue run rate. But at this point for us, we are, again, bootstrapped. There is no funding. We own the business outright entirely. We've been heavily focused on scale. We've built internal systems to support the scale of this. We've invested in platforms that are fully integrated. And if anything, we've held back on the growth reins because we didn't want a Groupon disaster. We didn't want too many clients and not enough support. So really going forward now, I think we're becoming a business bigger than we ever dreamed. And I think my fear and the reason I'm here today to share with you is I don't know what it's going to be like going from 1 million to 10 million and hopefully beyond. But what I do know is what gets you here today won't get me there going forward. And I think the fear I have is with no investors, I actually don't have any advisors, mentors. So I am consciously right now looking at building an advisory board and maybe even potentially giving them a small equity stake so they're vested in it, so that we could have that sounding board on a quarterly basis. We could have them open doors for us and use their Rolodex and do some of those things that a VC or a private equity firm could do for us. But that's sort of the fear of the unknown that we're at right now.
So, JD, I want to actually, it's great. It's absolutely fabulous to see how far you've come, and I do remember your first pitch and you were trying to do, so it's wonderful to see that a lot of that has actually worked out. And I think the timing has really worked in your favor, because the career market in the last several years, last 6 years, have been really terrible, except in one corner of the business, which is technology. The rest of the industry has been extremely challenging. So I imagine your business is primarily in non-technology careers, yes?
You'd be surprised. We're across the board. We thought we would try to focus heavily on niche or segment, but we are seeing clients anywhere from the ages of about 24 to 56. It's running the gamut. People don't know how to look for work or build their careers, and plenty of technology individuals are not familiar in the 2.0 techniques of leveraging things like LinkedIn and building proper career tools. And so, no, we've seen it across the board. I work with a lot of technology folks. I think you're right, though. A lot of them, because you have zero unemployment rate for developers, for example, in the greater San Fran area, they're not as much as a need, but we still see them.
Mm-hmm. And you have, this is something that would be very interesting for the group to hear about. JT has done a phenomenal job on LinkedIn, actually. LinkedIn has a program, I don't know how many of you are familiar with it. LinkedIn has a program called Influencers, and great personalities like Richard Branson are on it, and JT is on that list. So, JT, talk a little bit about how you've leveraged that program.
Oh, certainly. In fact, I would tell every entrepreneur on here, if you don't think that your company is a reflection of you and your brand, then the ability to grow it will suffer. And so I heavily got involved in branding myself with LinkedIn, and I was lucky enough for them to allow me to write for them and have been focused on religiously writing for them twice a week. If they ask me to write something, I write it for them. But it helped me define my audience. Every time I wrote, the example with your article, the content that I would get back in the form of comments, and to see how people would understand what I wrote or didn't understand what I wrote or misinterpreted what I wrote, every time was such a huge learning experience for me that it helped us figure out what other tools we needed to build. How could we better position the market? A great example, we were offering a subscription from the beginning. You had to buy in on a subscription, and we couldn't get people to do it. And then they would finally break down and buy it and say, I don't know what took me so long. We realized the problem was people have a complete aversion to buying into a subscription right out of the gate. So we turned it into an info product with 30 days of free support, and that was a game changer for us. That directly came out of me blogging. So whether it's on LinkedIn or another platform, I can't tell everyone here how important it is to write regularly as the COO, because it will give you invaluable data for your business. And it does brand you, I won't lie. I pinch myself with how many followers I have and how I can put something out to market, in 24 hours now, thanks to LinkedIn. So,
but content marketing is one of the most effective means of marketing on the internet today. And this is, I fully agree with fully echo JT's point that all of you who are doing anything, not just being entrepreneurs, whatever it is that you're doing, you should think of a personal branding strategy that includes significant amounts of writing if you do have that skill. If you do not have that skill, that's a disadvantage. But if you do have writing skills, using that and turning that into with both content marketing strategy and a personal branding strategy is very important. And I've done that consistently for many years. I started blogging in 2005. The blog took off very early, and then one thing led to another. I wrote for Forbes. They invited me to write a column for 3 years, and then I wrote for Harvard Business Review recently for a whole series on financing, seed capital gap, and so forth. So And then all this are, these are the reasons actually, these are the content marketing strategies that have allowed us to do 1 million by 1 million on a global scale, and that's really, you know, just like JT's experience, my experience also has been that content marketing is the most cost-effective way of building a brand out there right now. If you can tackle it. It's not easy. Content marketing is not easy. Personal branding is not easy, but it is a very important channel. So let's actually segue into this article and have the discussion about, you know, so how many of you have read the article? I know Maureen has put the article in the public chat, and many of you actually, I saw the sign-up list today, many of you came today registered from the article as well. So why don't we actually, JT, while since you're on the line, I'm going to ask you a question to kick off this discussion. You do a lot of career coaching through your business. What is the you know, sense in what is the feeling in your community about this issue of, you know, people, basically women in their mid-30s, very talented women in their mid-30s, quitting their professional careers to become stay-at-home moms?
Oh, well, first of all, it's such a personal one for me because that's what I did, right? I was in the corporate world and I walked away from it all, and a lot of people thought I was absolutely crazy. So, you know, a six-figure income running a $30 million division of a business, and I decided no. And so immediately a lot of the business women said, what are you doing? And I said, I'm going to go and figure it out and start on my own. And I was brought into this world that you talk about, which is, I affectionately call myself a tweener, because I want to be a great mom. And there are a lot of moms that are very happy staying at home and being at home, and I wanted to be accessible to my children, and I knew the job I was in wasn't going to work. But I do feel like I went through a very lonely process. So this article I identified with deeply. I had to put blinders on, and I had to say, what is the definition of career success to me, and how could I make that happen? And at the time, all I could see was the solution is I had to start my own company. And I think that's a shame. It's a shame that I felt so stuck that that was my only option. Yet that's how it was for me in 2001. And so I read this article and, you know, with tears, no lie, because so many women work so hard to get their careers in place. I busted my tail to get to where I was at 33, to then have to make some decision like that and to feel that anxiety. At the same time, let's talk about the reality. You lose 10% of your marketability for every year you're out of the workforce. So if the average mom is going to then wait until their daughter or son is in first grade, takes about 7 years off, you have the ability to make about 30% of your income again. It puts you back to entry-level jobs. And there you are doing the toughest job ever, raising a child, and what you're told is, oh, great, but you now need to start over. So there's so much going on in this space, and you couldn't be more right about this, and that women need to find a way. I always told them, at the very least, keep a toe in the water. If you don't feel you're ready to handle juggling it and staying all the way in the workforce, please keep thinking about this, because your life is going to evolve and change, and you're going to want this career. You're going to want something in there to fuel you. And I just feel like that's a natural part of who we are as women. We're multitaskers. We want to do these different things. So it's a very hot subject right now, and it didn't surprise me that you would set off such a great dialogue around it, because it's tough, really tough.
Absolutely. Anybody else wants to chime in? If you would like to call, actually, to share your thoughts, here are the instructions, the calling instructions. Phone number is 650-479-3208. Access code is 662-081-906. You know, to kind of expand on what I was thinking in what I wrote about in this article is that while it may be very complicated to juggle climbing a corporate ladder, so to speak, while balancing your child rearing at home and so forth, entrepreneurship is something that you have more flexibility on. You know, one thing I would say, entrepreneurship is not easy. It is extremely complicated and extremely difficult. However, uh, route of entrepreneurship is you can do it at your own pace. And we do, the example that I provided in the article is a woman who took 18 months to go from concept to launch. And that's okay, because she has 3 children, and her youngest was born at that time when she decided to venture on her own. And that's okay. If it takes you 18 months, 24 months to get something going and then you build it in due course, that's fine. You don't need to necessarily be on a venture capital track, for instance, alongside raising your child. But if you start putting kind of your thoughts together and getting something off the ground, that is very, very doable. And frankly, this is something that we are very much in a position to help you with in 1M1M, in that you can do 1M again at your own pace. You can study and understand the process of entrepreneurship, how to put one foot before the other, and put all and on a weekly basis you get mentoring here. This is not like a mentor who gets together with you once a quarter. This is a weekly checkpoint or check-in session every week. You have sessions like this that are private, that you can come in and exchange notes with your peer group, pitch and get feedback, and you have a very powerful curriculum guiding you along the way. So you just, get all that stuff lined up so that you can do it at your own pace. You can come to the point at which you're ready to launch maybe a year or 2 into your child's, birth. Whatever works for you. Flexibility is important. I think flexibility is important. I think making the choices that work for you personally is important. Everybody's situation is different. Financial situations are different. Budgets are different. How much childcare you can afford is different. Who's working? Is your husband working? Is your partner working? All that. There are many decision factors that play into it, but there are options. My point is, you shouldn't feel hopeless, and you shouldn't feel like you need to go into a depression, and those are unnecessary side effects of your having to quit your job in the mid-30s and give up on your dreams. That's absolutely and completely unnecessary. Is anybody on the line?
Hi, this is Radha Ratnabaki.
Yes, please, Radha, go ahead.
Yeah, so I just wanted to share my experience a little bit.
Yep.
My reaction was very similar to JT's on reading it. So when I first had my first child, I was already a professional woman in the tech industry for about, I would say, 7 years or so. And as soon as I had my baby, I felt I had to stay at home and, I shouldn't go back to work or whatever. And I sort of, informed my husband, like, in the first few days after my baby was born. And he was actually very supportive. But he said, think about it. You don't have to decide anything, and please don't call your manager now. Think about it. Reassess after 4 weeks. And, that was the best advice I got, because after 4 weeks, I was kind of ready to go back to work. I was able to go back to work, and initially, I kind of worked shifts. So I used to work like 6 to 1, and then my husband would work 2 to 10 or whatever. So we had crazy hours for a few months. But I'm so happy I hung in, because within a few months of my daughter being born, I got promoted to a management position, and which played a big role later in life, because that put me on the track to really build a career. So I think that was the best advice I got.
Great.
And the second time when I had my son, I went through a similar exercise. Well, this time I said, it's not that I want to quit working, but I might quit my job. And he said, I know you want to try something else. Don't be hasty. Why don't you hang in there and see? And turned out that was also good advice, because my company got acquired by IBM at that time, and which then opened up new opportunities for me there, and I'm now an executive at IBM. So,
right.
And I think there are some tips that I wanted to share, which is like, often we feel there's nobody to help us, but actually there's a support network you could have amongst your neighbors or your friends, and just wanted to encourage people to take advantage of that. Thank you.
Very good. Excellent. I'm glad you did not have to quit. Anybody else wants to share your thoughts, experiences?
It's JT. I have a question for you about this. Is that okay?
Go ahead.
So how do you find women can best build a peer network around this? You know, there are large groups, but I feel like women tend to not take advantage of them enough. Formal groups, they don't have the time. You're balancing children and career. Are there more original ways that you've seen that women are able to stay connected or leverage resources? Yours is a brilliant example, having your program, for example, on a work on it as you can basis. But what about that connection avenue that was just mentioned?
You know, my feeling is that one of the best ways actually people do it is through children's schools. If you talk about the mom, right? Meet other moms and parents of children and of your same age group, and that kind of puts a lot of synergistic people in one place. And if you can find other working moms or entrepreneur moms, whatever it is that you're looking for, whatever kinds of connections you're looking for, in your community through the children's school network, that may be the most practical way of doing it, because you would be able to leverage a lot in terms of logistics, because a big part of this puzzle is logistics, right? And the second thing, as Radha said, I think neighbors is a big one. I know people who work and the neighbors pick up the kids from school and stuff like that. So those are interesting ones. Now, if you're trying to connect with in your situation, if you're trying to connect with other entrepreneurial women, then you need to specifically look in entrepreneurship groups. And if you're looking for entrepreneurial moms, mompreneurs who have children, small children, if you want that kind of relationship, again, you need to go hang out in the entrepreneurship networks and find people through those networks, unless you know people you know, personally. And then the companies are providing networks inside. So this is one thing that Sheryl Sandberg is doing very systematically, is she is creating lean-in groups inside of corporations, and that's something that many corporations have set up, where it's kind of like the women's support group, which is becoming the women's support group. And even before lean-in, there were women's support groups inside of large corporations forever. So colleagues, neighbors, children's schools, entrepreneurship groups, these are probably the 3 or 4 major ways. Make sense?
Yes, that was fabulous. Thanks.
All right. Okay, well, let's go do some more discussion on our entrepreneurs' businesses. Moses, Sam, Paul, J. TerraTech is the company. What do you go by, Sam or Moses?
Yeah, Sam, that's why I have underlined it.
All right, Sam, great. Sam,
Right.
please tell us what you're doing.
All right, so a little bit of background. I did computer science engineering, then I worked with Tata and Microsoft for 3 years. Then I moved to Singapore to do a master's in public policy, where my master's thesis was how to improve the Singaporean financial landscape to sustain entrepreneurship. And so TerraTech was founded by a Singaporean Indian, and I co-founded it with him. So what we essentially do is, it's in the next slide. All right. So the transport industry, especially in India and Southeast Asia, is highly unorganized. In India alone, there are 6 lakh vehicles in the unorganized sector, just taxis, if you're talking about taxis alone, and which in itself is a $12.5 billion industry. So if you look at what's the current scenario there, all these taxis and buses, they use an expensive Linux-based system, which is not scalable because they use proprietary software. And the second thing is, operation-wise, it's really inefficient because they still use SMS and call-based fleet management techniques. And the third thing is, if all these devices can be connected, using a scalable technology, all these devices can be used as a in-house advertising platform. This is also how do we do it?
Sam, we cannot hear you very well.
Right. Is this okay now?
Yes, much better.
Okay. Can you go to the next slide, please? All right. So our solution comes in 3 parts, right? So you get a kick-ass hardware with a scalable software. Then what you essentially get is a platform. That's what we are trying to provide here. So on the hardware side, we have a manufacturer in China, obviously, and the software is cloud-based, and we provided it on a SaaS model based. And so when we went out to pitch it to investors, saying, we want to create the ad platform first, everyone was like, so how do you build the infrastructure, right? So we thought we'll reverse it. So we wanted the operators to come and buy the devices by themselves. So how do we make them do it? We are going to provide a lot of features in the software platform, right? Through a GPS-based fare and distance calculator, a panic button, especially in India and Southeast Asia, for women passengers to travel safely. So a hardware with a cloud-based scalable platform, which can be in a later stage leveraged into an ad platform. This is our solution. Next slide, please. So the customer segments are, it's not limited to just taxis, tuk-tuks, or buses. Recently, even e-vehicle manufacturers are coming to us and asking if they can integrate our product into their vehicles. So it's a huge, huge customer segment. So the business model is pretty simple. So we design and source the hardware from China, and then we don't really want to get into the B2C model yet, because our team is not that big yet. And so we act as a B2B technology provider. So if you're an operator, you come to me, and if you have an Android-based hardware, that's okay. But then if you don't, then you can procure hardware from us. So we stop at being a B2B technology provider. And the third thing is obviously leveraging the on-the-move advertising platform once we reach a critical mass in each city. Next slide, please. So I think I talked a lot about this, so we can move on to the next one. So the revenue streams is it's the same thing. The hardware sales, we keep a minimum margin of 25 USD, and the SaaS model, we give it to the operators in 3 formats, which is the vanilla, strawberry, and chocolate, 3 flavors, which ranges from $3 to $8 per month per vehicle basis. And then the ad revenue has started kicking in last month. So this is what we have found out is, based on cost per ad impression, and assuming that in a tuk-tuk there are 2 passengers, and average in an average the tuk-tuk goes on 7 trips a day. So we have a very simple calculation there.
So what is your current revenue stream? Is any of these validated?
I mean, we have all these 3 revenue streams started coming in. Ad revenue, because we started this product rolling out 1 year back, but then it took like 11 months for us to get to that critical mass in one city in Chennai, India. And so the ad revenue is, right now it's locally sourced, small jewelry ads, or like, small companies giving us ads. But then once we establish such critical mass in each city, then we can go to international
But what about hardware and SaaS sales? Let's forget the advertising for the moment. Advertising is critical mass, but what kind of revenues are you doing through hardware sales, and what kind of revenues are you doing through SaaS sales?
So SaaS model, on an average, we get $5 per month, and right now we have 328 devices installed in South India.
Okay.
And 20 devices in Singapore as well.
So Sam, my suggestion would be, for the moment, don't spend a lot of time on trying to do the ad revenue. Get the market captured as far as hardware and SaaS sales are concerned. so that you have critical mass. And right now, trying to sell advertising is going to be more trouble than is worthwhile, just because you don't have critical mass. But once you get to critical mass, this is going to become a lot easier. So for the moment, I would say for the next 18 months or 24 months, I would kind of not really worry about the ad revenue.
Right, right. So if you can look at the 20/80 and 60/40 splits, it's how we share the ad revenue between the operator, right? So we are not really going out and procuring advertisements as of now. So we just initially signed the MOU with the operator saying, if you source it locally, then you give certain percentage of that to us. So it's done by the operators themselves. Like, we are not going out and procuring advertisements as of now.
Okay, fine.
Okay, so that's traction and pipeline. I think I talked about it. So the best thing is, tuk-tuks. People didn't really consider tuk-tuks as one of the mediums within, where you can use technology to organize that sector. So we are the only ones in that sector right now, in Thailand and in India as well.
Okay.
Right. So the questions basically I had was, every operator that we go to, they usually ask for an exclusivity clause. They would just have a 50 vehicle or 100 vehicle fleet, and then they would say, boss, your software is good, your product is good, can you give me an exclusivity for whole of India?
The answer is no.
It's no, but then, true, it's no, but then, it's that kind of people we are dealing with, and if we really want to expand at an exponential pace, I don't really understand the strategy how to go about it. Like if it's B2C, it's okay, but then in a B2B, you are kind of stifled by the growth of the partner, right?
Well, you've chosen a B2B business, right? You have not chosen a B2C business. You've chosen to do a B2B business, so you have to sell software and hardware to these operators, and if they're not willing to buy, then you don't have a business. And obviously people are willing to buy, which is why you do have a business.
Correct. I mean, they're willing to buy, but then everyone asks for this exclusivity clause, and then at least for the city, at least for the state. That's the constant request.
The answer is no, and this is something that I want to say to all of you. It is perfectly okay to say no to people who are asking for unreasonable things. It's important to know confidently when to say no, what are the constraints and boundaries beyond which you're not going to go, and this exclusivity is a no. It's as simple as that. You should feel very comfortable saying no. Okay?
All right, fair enough. Okay.
And people actually respect you when you say no to them firmly, that sorry, this is not part of our business model. They actually respect you.
True.
All right, good luck. It seems like it's validating, and you need to figure out all the scaling points and put the processes in place so that you can scale the sales cycle and everything, but sounds like you're moving in the right direction.
All right, thank you. Thanks a lot.
You're welcome. The next one is QLab Technologies, Kiran Chandrasekhar.
Hello,
Kiran,
can you hear me?
Yes, please go
Yeah,
ahead.
hi. Good morning, everyone. My name is Kiran Chandrasekhar. I'm the co-founder of QLab Technologies. I'm calling in from Bangalore. Today, I'm speaking about our QLab Technology, the product that we are working on right now. It's called eSecure, or it's a home security solution. So, eSecure is basically a completely automated, completely wireless home security solution. Basically, we are working towards home automation, industrial automation, and vehicular automation solution. And we're also working on developing software system for monitoring and controlling hardware solutions. Like, for instance, when we are developing a vehicular automation system, like, if you want to detect arc faults or, tire pressure or the batteries and stuff like that. So we are developing software systems to monitor all that. The high-end solutions from Mercedes, Audi, all these things have an inbuilt vehicular automation system. But what we are trying right now is to build software for the vehicles which don't have any of these systems. So we are planning to build automation systems for vehicles by building software. QLab, about QLab, we founded QLab in June 2013. My partner Kiran Prabhakar, who is in Minneapolis right now, to explore opportunities in the area of automation, home automation, industrial automation, and vehicle automation, and to look for joint ventures and being channel partners in this area. As I mentioned, eSecure is a complete home security system. It's completely designed, conceptualized by QLab Technologies. We have built our own real-time operating system. It's completely wireless, and it's designed to be a plug-and-play device. So a person with no understanding of how the system works should be able to learn by just plugging in this system. So it's completely automated. We have an Android application where you can configure, customize everything, all the complete eSecure systems through an Android app. We have a number of competitors in India like Zycom, Eureka Forbes, Godrej, and compared to our competitors, we support up to 4,000 wireless zones. What we basically are telling us, we can connect in principle up to 4,000 third-party devices like biometric sensor, door sensor, magnetic sensor, and temperature sensor. So in principle, we can connect up to 4,000. It's third party. For instance, Zycom supports a maximum of 32 zones. So there, you need to purchase this 32 third-party sensors from Zycom itself. They don't support any third-party hardware to be connected to the security system, but we support up to 4,000. And we have built our own. Can we go back to the previous slide, please?
Kiran, I would like to hear a bit more about your customers. You've told a lot about the product, but I would like to hear more about your customers. I think we understand that knowing a lot more details about your product is not going to help us in this session and help me help you. So I'd like to understand what is going on in the customer side.
Well, actually, thing is, there are two things here. This is the product which we are spending a lot of effort and capital on R&D. So we are spending hello.
It's very difficult to hear you, Kiran. Your line is quick.
No, I think
so whatever little bit of time you're going to take up here, let's try to make it productive. Tell me who's the customer, okay, and do you have customers yet?
No, I mean, we have yet to go for industrial production, but we have spent all this time on R&D, and we have built a prototype home security solution. And the complete, in terms of the revenue that we are generating, we are doing through another product called B2B management solution. It's called MLM network software. And my colleague is in US to explore this opportunity for the same reason. We are yet to go for industrial production. So the prototype is ready in terms of the web management tools, the web management prototype, and the Android application.
Let me understand what the business is trying to do. You said you're doing embedded software. Does that mean that you're looking for OEM players in the home security market who want to buy your embedded software and build that into their designs?
We are planning to license our RTOS solution as well. So we have built our own real-time operating system which supports number of technologies, and we are planning to look for looking for channel partners and also.
Do you have you have done all this R&D work? You've invested in all this R&D work without any customers in the loop? Yes,
I mean, actually, thing is, all the revenue that it's like we are bootstrapping. So, the revenue that, we have generated through another product. I mean, if you go to the
I
next slide.
understand. I got that. You've generated revenues from another product, but this product that you have scoped out and you have actually built and prototyped, you have no customer input in this product.
Yes, that's right.
That is a big problem. This is not how we recommend you build products or go to market. In our methodology, everything that we do is anchored in customer immersion. So our philosophy is, do not write a line of code or do not build any product, if it's a hardware product, whatever, don't build any product until you have talked to enough customers have said that, yes, this is a problem I have, and I will buy your product if you have this product ready. And you've completely bypassed kind of customer immersion, and you've built something in vacuum. So what makes me very nervous is whether there are any customers at all who want your product or not. I don't know. So immediately, before you do anything else, you need to go talk to 10, 20, 30 potential customers as soon as possible.
No, we have done that. We have done that research in our town in Bangalore, and a lot of people are interested in buying. A lot of realtors, they are interested in buying our home security solution because it's completely wireless and it's completely automated. So the product that's available in the market is semi-wireless, I would say, in the sense the control solution is completely wired and stuff like that. So what we have done is, we have understood the market. So there's a huge requirement of home security solution in Bangalore, at least in India. So in that sense, and this solution can be extended to home automation, vehicular automation, and industrial automation as well. So we have built as a generic solution. So the operating system, the support for technologies and stuff like that. So the same technology can be extended to other design as well. So, in one of the slides, I mentioned how we have copyrighted some of the designs for tire pressure detection, arc fault detection, for vehicular automation.
No, but you're talking about all these design and more products and this and that without figuring out how are you going to sell this product. Nowhere in your presentation, I've just now flipped through 10, 12 slides. There's not a single slide on how this product goes to market. And that is a huge problem, and what that tells me is that you're focused on building products and you are not really giving any thoughts to how you're going to build the business.
The real market for us for home security solution is the big realtors and the highly independent houses in Bangalore and all over India, and so we have getting a lot of inquiries from realtors.
So that means you need to build a full sales channel to be able to service this market, sell and service that market.
Yeah, that's right.
There is the plan for that. That is something that you need to pull together. Before you think about developing more products, first and foremost, what you need to do is build the sales channels to sell into the real estate market.
All right, I understand.
Okay, so go back and do that. That's the next step.
All right, okay.
Okay.
Actually, thing is, basically, the R&D work, we have been funding this through another product. It's an e-commerce based solution. So we have a lot of customers there, and we have been able to support our company and the R&D activities through this. And this is something which is going really good. And we have been working with some of the top MLM players in the world, and we are building the MLM solution.
None of that addresses the issue that you do not have a sales strategy for a product that you've developed.
Right, understand.
So first and foremost, you need to, the next step for this product, the second product that you've developed is how are you going to go to market? So go develop that strategy. That is the most important thing to do for your business right now.
I mean, my question was related to that as well, in the sense, we have a number of products and designs in the sense, and we are planning to license our real-time operating system, because the Atmel, which is a major player in embedded system and programmable boards, the license costs are very high, and we are planning to license our solution, and we are planning to look, looking for joint venture channel partners in this direction, where we can license our.
So that needs to be, if that is the strategy, if the strategy is not to go to market to the real estate market yourself, rather you want to license the technology to some other company that will be taking it to market, licensing the technology from you, then you need to find that partner. You need to find the list of prospects in that field, and then you need to go to talk to all of them. That's still a go-to-market strategy. And you still need to execute on that one plan, and to execute on that go-to-market strategy, and then negotiate the right deals.
Right. I mean, my partner is in US for the same reason, to explore this and, to explore the joint ventures and stuff. So he's there in London right now. All right.
Okay, let's move to the, I think that's it. Maureen, are we done with the presentations? Just want to make sure that I haven't slipped through anybody. Okay, folks. So if you like what we are doing here, I would really request you to bring serious entrepreneurs into 1M1M. We're always looking to work with serious entrepreneurs who have the, who want to really do this, who want to really build companies and scale companies and everything. And as you hear from entrepreneurs who have spoken here today, it's hard. Entrepreneurship is really hard, and it takes a lot of commitment, lots of strength, stamina. It's a marathon, not a sprint. So we want people who are willing to run that marathon, and people whom we can help put our networks together and really help them grow. That's why we founded 1M1M, and that's why we are doing 1M1M. So I'm going to take a few minutes and just explain to you how to use 1M1M if you decide to use it. 1mby1m.com is the place where you'll find all the resources. We actually have a very simple business. We try to give you a bunch of free things so that you can learn through that process. So the Entrepreneur Journeys book series, as well as our blog, are two very good places to start your journey. The blog is free, and it has immense number of case studies and role model stories and trends and everything in the technology and technology-enabled services industry, including all the web businesses are very prevalent in our community. And then from there on, you can also look at the Entrepreneur Journeys book series, which are all on Amazon and Kindle. So Kindle actually is the strategy that we are using for most of our publishing work at this point, even though the first 4 books are available as physical books as well as digital books. The last 4 are digital only. So nonetheless, these are all available out there, and they address specific aspects of entrepreneurship, like the Feminism book is where the excerpts that we discussed earlier in the session is from. So it discusses entrepreneurship amongst women, what kinds of issues they're dealing with, and what kinds of successes they're having, how they're putting one foot before the other, how they're juggling the work-life balance issue, raising children, and so forth. Bootstrapping and positioning are 2 cornerstone elements of our business building methodology. So you're very welcome to take a look at those pieces to figure out what's the, what are the to-dos in each of those areas. And of course, as you get into our premium program, you will see a lot more, lot more guidance on each of these topics. So this is what the site looks like. This is what the blog looks like, actually. The free roundtables happen every week, so feel free to use them as you need to. For the foreseeable future, we have free roundtables every single week, and it's a very popular forum that a lot of people have used. Like JT said earlier, a lot of entrepreneurs have actually, run their assumptions by here early on and then gone on to execute on those assumptions and have become profitable companies, have generated significant revenues and so forth. So we've seen a lot of companies develop and, you know, build well just based on some discussions here in these free roundtables where they've made some critical decisions. And in JT's case, she decided, when she came, as far as I remember, she was actually thinking of raising money, and I advised her to not raise money and to bootstrap at least for a while, and she did, and now she's looking to target a $2 million annual revenue run rate in 2014, which is very good progress. So feel free to use the free roundtables as much as you want. And then if you're looking for more sustained guidance, so now we're talking about private roundtables where we do intense strategy consulting. And by the way, in the premium program, we have lots of companies that are well over $1 million in revenue. Some of them are 3 million, 5 million in revenue already. Some of them have been with us for 3 years. That's how long they could have been with us, because we have only been around for a little over 3 years. And we can help you through the process of scaling the company as well up to a point. You know, if you're looking, so we provide extensive methodology guidance, and the way we do that is through our curriculum. And I will tell you more about the curriculum, how we built the curriculum, and what you can expect to get out of it. We help you with business development. You know, there's a lot of partnership deals where we have connections and relationships where we introduce you, and these introductions are, you know, high value introductions because we have trust. In our network, we have a lot of trust and a lot of brand credibility. So when an introduction comes from 1M, you get more attention. And then for the strategy consulting, you can call it strategy consulting, mentoring, coaching, whatever word that you want to use. We use these kinds of forums, but these are private members only forums to do the interactive part. We help you with financing if that's the direction you want to go, and if your business gets to a point where it is financeable. And we will help you figure out both the diagnostic part of it, whether your business is currently fundable as it stands, and then we will also help you figure out what you need to do to become fundable if you want to go in that direction. So that's the diagnostic. And then once we have figured out that you are going to be fundable and you have all the ducks lined up, we will introduce you to investors who are likely to fund you. So that's the whole, you know, financing piece of the 1M program. Then the final thing is we do a lot of media relations work. So we've found that it's very difficult for entrepreneurs these days to get media coverage. And media coverage is really important. The entrepreneurship media covers you when you have a big funding announcement. But you need coverage. You need people to know about you as early as possible. So we bridge that gap. We have a lot of clout in the media, and we bridge that gap for you. If you go to the website, the $1 Million Club link, it will introduce you to some of our $1 Million Club members. The quantifying the 1M value equation link will give you an ROI analysis. We provide $375,000 plus 5 to 10% equity worth of value for a $1,000 annual membership fee. And those of our members who are using the program the way it's designed to be used are getting tremendous value out of the program. I mean, you can imagine for a $1,000 annual membership fee, you get $375,000 worth of value, cash, plus 5 to 10% equity. To access equivalent value, it's going to cost you a hell of a lot more. So in a sense, we've tried to make the pricing of 1M such that it really is a no-brainer if you're really serious about using the program. And we give you lots of orientation material on how to use the program effectively as well. There's a self-assessment, 1M self-assessment, which you can put your business through to see how many of these questions you're able to answer. And if there are gaps in your understanding of the process, you can also use the curriculum modules that we attach with the self-assessment. However, those are only accessible for the premium members. So there's lots of material on the site about the premium membership and what to expect from the program, the video FAQs and so forth. The curriculum is designed in form of video lectures and case studies. We have a set of core modules and a set of elective modules. And we have developed case studies since 2006. We have invited very experienced entrepreneurs onto the forum to share and teach. So they have shared their entrepreneurial journeys, how they have put one foot before the other and become successful, and what strategies and tactics they have used. And we have got over 600 of these entrepreneurs participate in this process. So in a sense, you're getting almost like an entrepreneurship MBA here, taught by over 600 successful entrepreneurs. And there's a tremendous amount to learn on how to start a company, how to make decisions that are going to help you scale a company, and many of these people have built very sizable companies. So what we've done is we've synthesized a lot of these lessons as video lectures, and then we've provided you with the actual case studies as well, so that you can really have the intense experience of sitting down with somebody who has done something significant in an area that you're trying to understand and get your heads around. So the curriculum is really powerful, and in the core curriculum we teach bootstrapping, positioning, market sizing, customer validation, financing, customer acquisition, and team building. And on the elective side, we teach Web 3.0 and e-commerce, so that's all the web businesses, cloud computing and business solutions, outsourcing and consulting, mobile and social apps, healthcare IT, online education / educational technology, and gaming. Those are elective modules. Our methodology is lean, capital efficient, bootstrap startups. Although we do raise money, we do help our entrepreneurs raise money, the ones who fall in the venture financeable category. But even there, we kind of start them out with a very sound bootstrap methodology, so that by the time they go out to raise money, they're in a more solid place to be able to, what I say is don't go to investors as beggars. You want to go to investors as kings, so that they want to fund you, they want to give you money, and you are in a strong negotiating position to be able to decide whom to take money from and on what terms. This is the philosophy of the program. So we are on your side. Every single financing deal we've done, we've got better terms than what was offered to our entrepreneurs. So we help you negotiate these terms and take out onerous clauses, get better valuation at some times, and so forth. So this is something we know how to do, and we will be working on your behalf. That is our commitment to you. We are really here for the entrepreneurs. We don't have any dual purpose or dual agenda. I told you we do a lot of work in the media. So if you go to our press link on the home page, you will see there's a section called Coverage of One-on-One and Premium Members. This is where we cover you. And you will see that there are many different media outlets where we have been able to place coverage about you. So we have syndication relationships with 30 different media companies, and we put that leverage to action and to work for you on your behalf. This is why the media coverage happens, because of our relationships. And then we do a lot of work in the social media as well, through our Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn channels. And especially it's important because a lot of influencers are following us on different channels. And if you're, part of the trick of all this is to get on the radar of influencers, so they've come to know about you, whether it's in investors, whether it's media, whether it's analysts, and getting on their radar gets you to the broader coverage in many cases and broader awareness. Our blog, we have a couple of series. One-on-One and Incubation Radar are companies below 1 million, and then Deal Radar is above 1 million. And a lot of investors are tracking this particular series as, sources of deals. We have an affiliate program, by the way, and those of you who are interested in promoting entrepreneurship in your community, you can become an affiliate partner, and we pay 10% affiliate commission on our $1,000 annual membership fee. So, for example, in fact, as you were talking, JT, that's something I was thinking about is if you do have interest in entrepreneurship in your community, especially this category that we are discussing, the women entrepreneurs or the women who are looking to become entrepreneurs and want training, and need a support group, this is potentially something that you may want to consider, is to start 1M as an affiliate partner and then sell the program into that particular segment and monetize that segment as well. So if you're interested, we can very, very well discuss that as a possibility. Upcoming free roundtables, pretty much all the May Thursdays we have roundtables. Vision India 2020, by the way, is another book that I wrote a few years ago. It's kind of an ideation book. There's a technique called visioning that I used for this book, where you are sitting in 2020 looking back on building a bunch of companies, and this is primarily for the developing world ideas. But if you're still looking for an idea and you're working in the developing world, you could think of using this book as your idea generating tool. Finally, we have a program called the 1M Incubator in a Box that a lot of companies, organizations are using to either launch their own incubation programs or expand their incubation programs. So for example, for several of our corporate partners, we run their internal incubation programs, intrapreneurship programs, or their ecosystem development programs. There are a lot of developer ecosystems out there which corporations are trying to incubate and nurture. They use the 1M program for incubating those communities. We can do the same thing for investors. We can do the same thing for governments, schools. We haven't really done a lot of work there yet. Part of it is our own bandwidth limitation, but it's the same program would work exactly the same way in all of those scenarios. So if you present any of those constituencies, please consider the incubator in a box. That's pretty much it. If we do have time, so if you would like to call in and have more discussions about anything that you want to, chat about, please feel free to call in. Just let us know in public chat that you would like to call in. Anne Clark is asking, what would be a reasonable amount of equity to offer for bringing in advisors? How about legal professionals? It really depends on what kinds of advisors, how much time are they going to give you, what is the value proposition, and if it's legal professionals, you probably want to assess how much legal work are they going to do for you, and then quantify that with some valuation assumptions. It's hard for me to work that out for you in vacuum without looking at more specifics, but I'll be happy to do that if you provide the specifics. Anybody else? Any other questions, comments? Anybody wants to call in for further discussions? Also, introductions would be great. If you haven't introduced yourself yet, please do introduce yourself and tell us what you're working on, where you're dialing from, etc. Anybody? No? If not, then we're going to wrap up, and we'll meet you back here next week. And please spread the word. If you like what we're doing, please spread the word. Thank you very much. Talk to you soon. Bye.